happy Sabbath, boys and girls. Sabbath. And happy Sabbath, grown-ups. While the rest of the boys and girls make their way down, I'm going to actually talk to the grown-ups for a minute, okay? So, as I was sitting here today, I was again just struck by and grace and just power. I didn't know what I was going to talk about until yesterday afternoon. You might say that's procrastination. It probably is, but it feels like every time I get up here and do this, you can see God's working in it. And I hope that the message, which I think ties in with what Pastor's going to talk about, which I have no idea, and I think it ties in with a lot of the pain that we've had in this church in the last week, and the hope that we have in salvation in heaven. So today, though, boys and girls, to return back to you guys, we're going to kind of tell a story, okay? We're going to tell a story about a grandma and her grandson and granddaughter and a wooden spoon. What do you think a wooden spoon can tell us about heaven? Well, we're going to find out today, okay? Now, before we get started, this isn't really a part of the children's story, but this wooden spoon is a really important wooden spoon in my family. Can you guess why this wooden spoon is really important? Because when I'd done something bad, my grandma would say, "Go get the wooden spoon." And she'd spank me. But when she passed away, the one thing I wanted was my grandma's wooden spoon. Maybe we might use that for a children's story later. But today we're gonna tell a story, like we said, about Grandma and her two grandchildren. And one day they asked her, they said, "Grandma, how do we know who's going to heaven? How can we tell? What are those people like?" And she said, "Well," and she got her spoon, she said, "Let me tell you a story about a spoon, but not just any spoon, a really long spoon, okay?" And she said, "Now what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that there are a bunch of people sitting around a table, and in the middle of it is something delicious to eat." Does anybody have a favorite thing that they like to eat? Anybody? Do we like ice cream? Milk? Okay, milk. That'd be hard to do with a spoon. Okay, but let's imagine your favorite thing in the middle of that table. And they looked around and they saw everybody, and they looked really hungry. They looked really skinny. You could see all of their ribs, and they looked really sad. And the grandson and granddaughter said, "Grandma, there's all that good food. How come these people look so hungry?" You could hear their tummies rumble. Does anybody's tummy ever rumble when they get really hungry? Does that make sounds? And she said, "Well, just watch for a minute, okay?" And they watched, and as the people, they would get some food, and they would try to get it to their mouth. But the handle on the spoon was too long, and they couldn't feed themselves. And here they were with all this good food right in front of them, but they were all starving. And Grandma said, "Now, let's look at a different group of people. Let's look over to these people in this group." And it's the same thing. We've got that same food in the middle of the table. But instead, and those people had the same long spoon. But instead, all of these people looked happy, and they were laughing, and they looked like they'd just eaten a lot of good food. And they said, "Grandma, what's different?" And she said, "Just watch." And what they would do is they would take a little bit of food, and then they would feed it to someone else. So they were able to all feed each other. And what Grandma wanted them to know was that when we love God, when we've been forgiven by God, we want to serve other people. It tells us in Matthew 25, Jesus tells all of us what the people who are going to heaven look like. He says, "When you saw me hungry, when you saw me cold, when you saw me needing something, you gave it to me. You helped me and you served me." So just remember, as we're starting our new school year, you want the spoon, buddy? Okay, it's yours. As we're starting the new school year, just remember that even sometimes we may not have food to share, we may not have a jacket to give someone, but we always have one thing that we can share with everyone, and that's Jesus' love.
Amen.
Amen. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll collect the lamb's offering as we head back to our seats.